guys. This is inside of an airplane that I think they used for war. Yeah, pretty cool. And here's what the outside looks like. Okay.
Take a picture of it.
Oh. Pretty cool.
Enrollment in his school, his wife and son believed the women were unable to work. Ruth Van Law, Ariel Atkins, Sterling, Line Service, and was among the first to use the women. By 1960, Ruth had clear objectives to set the
That's what it looks like on the inside. Pretty cool.
This was the squadron's first victory, and the Poles were absolutely cock-a-doodle. Ronald Kellogg was so pleased with the way that they behaved that he immediately asked for permission to declare the squadron operational.
Yep, there's no running in the museum. That's right, no running. Okay. Oh.
Dymu myślałem, że to Niemcy rzucili bomby na lotnisko. Potem zobaczyłem, że wszyscy moi koledzy lecą do miejsca, gdzie to się stało. Ja zapakowałem swój samolot. Poleciałem też do tego miejsca i zobaczyliśmy duże miejsce, gdzie ten samolot uderzył w ziemię. To był samolot, który latał ferryć. Miał dużą szybkość. Stracił jedno skrzydło. Ja myślałem, że pilot może wyskoczył, jak wiedział, że będzie katastrofa. Jak przyleciałem do tego miejsca, wszyscy piloci
Oh, got a nice map here.
po 3 dniach każdy, który szuka przeżycia, była msza święta i z hangaru maszerowaliśmy na cmentarz, gdzie on został pochowany. Pamiętam, że to był ładny dzień, deszcz nie padał. Cały składron był obecny na tym pogrzebie. Było smutno, bo to stało się tak na oczach wszystkich, że to tak stało się blisko do naszego dywizjonu.
All I know about his dying is what some of that. He started at Vietnam, the war started in France, and he wrote something to the effect that he would continue to write this diary until everyone contributed in the Great Depression. When he died, none of his bullets had been changed to write the diary and be custodian of it, and went through the end of the war. So it is the most fantastic historical
Oh, this way this looks. So funny. It's like a toy plane. Oh. Hello, astronaut.
Zero gravity toilet. I think we have to go back in the big room and take our time looking at it. Sophie's at the Wasp right now. Right now? Sophie's at the Wasp. You can read it. Where's the Wasp? Look at the big sign. Do you like it?
Maddie, don't you see it?
It says, wait.
It would be a come without children, so if you walk around,
Yeah.
you would come.
Service pilot? Yeah. Logan Air Force service pilots. That's what Wasp is.
Dad, can you tell me?
Okay, well, we gotta use Logan at the engine.
Dad, where's the Wasp?
Wasp, Logan Air Force service pilots.
HG where?
Yeah, those are Wasps.
Oh,
I think this is it. Cargo plane of some sort.
That's the way it was. Hmm.
Change the future. Yeah, but, you know, that's the way it was back then. And took the whole civil rights movement to do the day to even get changes. But I haven't back, and sure enough, they're going to say, Nazi, that's supposed to be 90 on my tail.
650 medals, including the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. Yet, while achieving excellence while defending our country, they fought two wars. One against America's enemies, and one against racism and injustice. Join me in the New England Air Unit to bring the beautiful spirit
Good afternoon. Thank you for visiting the New England Air Museum. Anytime flight time demonstration will begin in 5 minutes at 2 p.m. in the museum lobby. As the interactive flight time demonstration starts in 5 minutes at 2 in the museum lobby. This activity is best for visitors 68 and older. Thank you.
This is so cool. Well, as I'm making this video, it is very, very windy. That's all I can say. Yeah, so this is cool. This is an airplane museum. It's a little different from my other videos I made, but I think it's pretty cool still. I'm trying something new on my channel, and I hope you guys like this. Alright, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Bye bye now.
Yep, now it says closed. There, so it says
When Igor was about 11 years of age, he had a dream. In his dream, he walked down a narrow corridor with wood paneling on each side of him, and a very, very dim blue light. Suddenly, he realized that the vibration was somewhat like a fast-moving train, but not quite.
and his intuition told him he was in a flying machine. Dad said perhaps there are moments in time, consciously or unconsciously, literally you go on time travel and you are able to see something that will happen only 30 or 40 years later. That moment was at least so strong that my father never forgot it. At the age of 14, he told his father that he wanted to someday to build a flying machine. Now at that time in Russia, when he wanted to describe a man slightly crazy, he said, oh yeah, he's building a flying machine.
He grew to love the idea of flying by reading science fiction novels, Jules Verne especially, to teach him what flying could be like.
In his book, The Clip of the Clouds, this imaginary helicopter makes a number of very interesting rescues. And all of these obviously were in Dad's mental itinerary.
Human beings have had a desire to fly for almost as long as we've walked the earth. And in the case of Igor Sikorsky, we also have a little something extra, that inventive, creative spark of human genius.
This very wonderful phrase, anything that one man can imagine, will make real. And this was part of his philosophy.
And learning enough to come back home again. And before he was age 20, he was building his first flying machine.
Two-bladed coaxial rotor machine.
That's where you going?
By the way, it wouldn't carry him. It probably couldn't even lift itself.
We are talking about the early 20th century, the birth of modern aviation as we know it. There are no textbooks, there are no manuals, there are no blueprints.
Each of the innovations for the machine came out of his ideas and were tried, and some failed.
He modified in 1910 with a three-bladed rotor. And there he collected vibrations and he was able to visualize that it could lift, but it would never lift him. He put the brain aside and he began to work on fixed-wing aircraft.
He and the likes of Glenn Curtiss and the Wright brothers and Alberto Santos Dumont, all of these innovators are working all around the world trying to get us into the skies and get us flying.
The S-1 was his first machine, and it never flew. He hit the trees at the end of the runway. The S-2 made it over the trees, and the S-3 was successful in maneuver.
It's one thing to have a vision and a dream. It's another thing to have the skills and the knowledge and the intellect to be able to fabricate that dream into reality. It's a new, dangerous, radical, exciting time period in our history.
He went up to corporate headquarters at that time in Hartford, Connecticut.
Corporation was bought by United Aircraft, and we called them in and told them the war is on, we're going to expand. We don't have a lot of money to invest, but if you've got a project you can fund, we'll do it.
He described his recommendation that they seriously experiment with a helicopter. And he closed his pitch by saying that the helicopter will turn out to be a unique instrument for the saving of human lives. There was silence in the boardroom. The chairman turned to Igor Sikorsky and said, Mr. Sikorsky, you have your program. And that was the beginning of the VS-300.
He called the corporate people down to see it because he had progressed to where he thought was really worthwhile.
And one of the directors said that Igor had flown sideward and backward, but didn't do much flying forward. And Igor looked at him and said, yes, we're still working on that.
It was a 2-year process of fly, fix, fly, fix, fly, fix. A learning experience.
He actually figured out how to fly one in real time. He got behind the sticker one and did a few things and said, wow, that was not good. Let's fix that. Like he did.
One time he went home after a crash, and his son met him at the door. And he had a tear in his knee and dirt on his suit, and he said, I had a bad day at the office.
Hovering in the May 1941 sky, Igor Sikorsky and his helicopter proved that vertical flight has arrived.
Sikorsky teaches that you must change in order to continue to succeed. Those changes, once they occurred, it changed the world.
Over Lake Michigan, a Coast Guard demonstrated the reflecting rescue by helicopter.
It can be flown at the tiniest of pressures, to be held over one position, to do a 360-degree turn, to climb, descend, they can fly backwards.
We choose to go to the road in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
They have become ubiquitous for things like search and rescue, aerial reconnaissance, and all of these humanitarian-driven applications that were central to Sikorsky's ethos.
Air ambulance to transport of goods during hurricanes when no one else can get in, a helicopter can get in.
Igor Sikorsky's vision was to create a flying machine that would save lives. And in the over 2 million lives saved, we see how his vision came to life.
He's best known as the father of the modern helicopter, but as if that isn't enough, he also was the developer of the first 4-engine aircraft.
An aircraft considered technically impossible by the greatest aviation experts at the time.
The idea of building an airport with a couple of miles of flat, straight runway had not actually been conceived. And so flying boats were used because you can often find waterways that are long enough to let you take off.
He created the concept of the large passenger carrying machine with aircraft heaters in the cabin. Interestingly, in 1934, 1935, he was on a test flight in the S-40, the first of the giant clipper ships to be delivered to Pan American Airways. It was the largest aircraft ever built and flown in the United States, and the second largest in the world. And as the test flight is drawing to a close, Igor Sikorsky walks out of the cockpit, starts walking down the corridor. Suddenly, he stopped, and he told me that there were goose pimples running up and down his spine, because this was exactly the moment that he had dreamt of so clearly and so uncannily so many 35, 40 years ago.
Igor Sikorsky's legacy drives innovation today through our constant focus on improving our aircraft models from iteration to iteration.
You can feel it and you can sense it. You can see it in the X2 technology.
That was the fastest helicopter in the world, and still is. That followed a line of X2 products.
You see it in the CH-53K right behind me. How do you get an 88,000 gross weight aircraft off the ground?
And talking about matrix technology, which allows those helicopters to fly around and complete their missions autonomously.
Anybody who's worked video games, you're already at a very high skill to point the aircraft on the tablet.
the aircraft takes care of the details in terms of how to fly to accomplish that mission.
In the 21st century, technology can improve the human condition by being able to carry us into different atmospheres.
First helicopter, practical and successful, was Igor Sikorsky's dream. And so I would like to have the kids think the same thing, that they're only that far away from making that dream come true.
Greatness can be intimidating, but to see greatness through the eyes and the experience of a man like Igor Sikorsky, greatness can now suddenly be achievable for anyone.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video so much, and I apologize for the background noise. I found that to be quite annoying too. But anyways, there was actually nothing I could really do about it. I was in a museum, but yeah, I had a good time. It was fun, and I got to check out a really cool bunch of new things that I never checked out before. So I hope you found this video interesting, and I know it's a new topic on my channel. But yeah, hopefully I'll get to make more videos like these soon. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, and bye-bye.